Aloha! This is lesson 262 from A Course in Miracles with Hope Johnson. Let me perceive no differences today. Father, you have one Son, and it is He that I would look upon today. He is your one creation. Why should I perceive 1,000 forms in what remains as one? Why should I give this one 1,000 names when only one suffices? For your Son must bear your name, for you created him. Let me not see him as a stranger to his Father, nor as a stranger to myself. For he is part of me, and I of him, and we are part of you who are our source, eternally united in your love, eternally the Holy Son of God. We who are one would recognize this day the truth about ourselves. We would come home and rest in unity, for there is peace, and nowhere else can peace be sought and found. And that concludes the lesson. Let me perceive no differences today. So this is about seeing only oneness. So we're noticing what differences do I habitually notice in others? Right? One friend was telling me recently that he's noticing how his mind automatically sizes a person up by the way they look. And it'll inform him how to act around them. And the noticing of this is perfect. This shows you right now. For instance, he said, when I look at you, I see this hip, cool chick who I want to impress. And then I look at this other guy who comes up and he's missing one tooth, and I'm automatically like, what a hobo, And this isn't bad or wrong. This guy is totally on the right track, because he's recognizing what his ego mind is doing. The thing is, we're all one, so you recognize this in a way like, this isn't me saying this. Again, I'm only listening to this bullshit. Let me see past this. Lord, heal my mind. Let me see past this, these appearances, the belief in status and the way I should behave according to how someone looks to me. Right? This is very common, and people don't question this. So this lesson is coming up to saying, hey, question this. These ideas that are coming up that are telling you that, you're separate, right? Let me perceive no differences today. We're all one in God. We're all one in each other. Affirm to yourself, these differences are not real. There's no better and worse. There's only one. There's only the Spirit of God. Let me perceive this way. And let me see, let the Holy Spirit inform me through this sense of joy. That's how the Holy Spirit informs. Through this sense of joy, who I should speak to today. And what I should even say to them. Don't let me be informed by what my sightless eyes seem to bring back to me as reality. Don't let me be informed by that. Let me be informed by joy. Let me be informed by the Holy Spirit's guidance, who I should even relate with. Right? I'm not making the decisions. Simple like that. I was talking yesterday, I made a post on Facebook about being released, being able to release dynamics and people that aren't reciprocal and all this other stuff. It's like, and then someone came back, well, you should be able to love everyone. I'm like, I'm not talking about not loving people. It's releasing, and this isn't releasing in a mean way. This is releasing, it's actually in a really loving way, because it's releasing any pressure you put on them to be something for you. Now you can just move with joy. You can't hang out with everyone. In an apparent world, you really relatively you can only hang out with a few people. Out of all the people, you're really only hanging out with a few people. And your time is so precious to the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit would have you moving in joy. This is not a rejection. It's a release of any pressure or any, let's say, any idea that they should be a certain way for you. No, they should be exactly as they are. And you can see easily, that's not for me. And you can go on in joy. It's really simple. The Holy Spirit guides through joy. It does not guide through sacrifice. See, the ego guides through sacrifice. It says, you should be more loving than that. You should, even though that person treats you like shit in your perception, you should go toward them. Now look, the only reason it even seems like they are treating you like shit is attachment to them in the first place. So this release of the attachment, you can't even perceive that anymore. Not only that, either that dynamic is going to change and you're going to feel fucking awesome around them, or you're not going to be around them. It's just that simple. The Holy Spirit leads through joy. It says, Father, you have one son. If all are one son, then there's nothing outside of my heart. No one I need to judge. No one I need to fear. This is a release that I'm talking about. There's no judgment. It's just you're releasing that attachment. That's if you have an upset feeling, someone seems to be treating you bad, it's attachment. That's what you're releasing. You're releasing the attachment. And a lot of the times releasing of a person apparently seems to go along with that. And it's not like they're gone from your heart. You're still loving toward them. You might even be friends with them in the apparent sense. So names and labels are what create the separation, the sense of separation. We're putting names and labels on things when it's only just one of us. That's why we can just move easily in joy. Attachment makes us name and label something and want them to change. Want them secretly or not so secretly. Want them to change so we'll feel better. The release is releasing wanting them to change. What I noticed in my situation, when I was released from wanting my friend to change, when I was released from attachment, there was no more desire to have a romantic fucking feeling for him. It was not there anymore. Not that he's not totally my brother. I love him very much. So it says, why give 1,000 names when only one suffices? So it's like, I don't have to pick one out of the field. Okay, this is my person. This is how it's supposed to be. Right? If someone is let's say my partner, that's just what's reflecting. It's showing that to me. They're sweet to me. They're kind. That's what's coming up in my perception. If they're not sweet and kind, what I know is they're not being sweet and kind to themselves. It doesn't mean I need to hang out with them. There's no strangers. Let me see him not as a stranger to his Father, nor as a stranger to myself. It's like you have this sense like you want everyone to be happy and free and abundant and feeling safe in God. You're not wishing ill for people. What I notice about, when I have this attachment, it's like this feeling and this thought will come up like, fuck that person. That's how you know you have attachment. Bring your mind to healing. If anything like that, like you don't want goodness for them, that's the attachment. If you didn't have attachment, you wouldn't have that. That's actually making them a stranger. To the ego, that's love. But it's actually making them a stranger. It's holding them apart from love. So unity is what brings peace. And that's why this lesson is all about unity. Let me perceive no differences today. That's because unity brings us peace. It teaches that peace is found only in recognizing that we're one. So it's like releasing people from any obligation to serve you in any certain way, to bring you happiness, to even treat you a certain way. And you can, look at this. Have I ever felt true peace when I've seen someone as different from me? Have I ever felt true peace in that? And so it says we would come home and rest in unity. Look how simple this is. You're resting in unity. That means you're not trying to dictate how things go. You're not trying to control outcomes. You're simply observing with neutrality what's the most joyful. Well, that's how the Holy Spirit is guiding us through the day. What is the most joy? Let me have a good day. I want to have a good day. And if I'm attached to anything, I'm not having a good day. I need to release all attachments. I need to release all people. All people. You know, it's not like I'm keeping some and releasing some others. It's like you're noticing the ones that you have attachment for and releasing those ones. Back to love, back to wholeness, back to unity. And then you'll see what's really the most joyful. Holy Spirit, who would I speak to today? Who would I relate with today? And then you're more in a flow. So we want to see only the face of God within every face. That's what we're looking for. Only Christ, only the face of God, only ourselves within every face, and feel genuine love for everyone. And that's what this lesson is leading to. I mean, all of them are really leading to, but it says it in such a sweet way every single time and perfect for us every day. Let me perceive no differences today. This is our practice today, twice today, morning and evening, and every hour, and set your alarm for the every hour so that you are always keeping this at the top of your mind. Let me perceive no differences today. And anytime you meet anyone, I would suggest, let me perceive no difference in you. When I was going through these lessons, the 3.5 years that I did the lessons, this is how I did it. With intent, with a clear intent. I'd take this thought with me all throughout the day, and I would make it a point to meet people with the thought of the day. At this point, I don't have a particular thought of the day that I'm using, because all of the ACIM thoughts, they percolate, and I'm just given whatever one fits the perfect situation all the time. But as you're going through this, take one thought of the day each day. You could take the same thought over 2 or several days if that feels good to you. But as you're practicing, you're just taking one thought for the day, and you're using that one thought throughout the day, and using it to apply to all the situations and all the other thoughts that arise in your mind. So, yay. Have a beautiful practice. Have a beautiful remembrance. I love you. Ahui ho.